Hi, and welcome to All About Adulting. I'm your host, Kimberly Buckley, and I'm the library manager at the Concord Library. I've been planning adulting programs at the library for a long time, and I was also a teen librarian for many years, so I feel like I have a lot of experience on this topic. And I hope that you will enjoy this mini series geared for high school and college students. I know these last few months have been hard for all of us and having to stay home, and I hope that everyone is staying safe and healthy. And since we can't go to the library right now, I thought I would bring the adulting programs to you, and I hope that you enjoy this week's segment. So, before we get started on our topic of the day, and if you're just tuning in for the first time, I usually go over what adulting is all about. And I get asked this question a lot. Lots of people ask me, what is adulting anyway? Well, adulting can mean a lot of different things, but the real definition actually means to do grown up things like get a job, pay your bills, or do your laundry. But the number one point of adulting is that you are being independent on your own and being responsible. Okay, so now that we know all of that, we can move on to what I think is the more fun aspect of adulting, trying to figure out just what you need to know and how to apply it to your life. So, here are some of the topics that we'll be going over in this mini series. And you can see that some of these are very, very important skills for living on your own. And even though this might seem like a lot, you can totally do this. And I'm here to help. So, our topic today is all about job interviews and how to ace your job interview. And I really think that job interviews are really important because they provide an opportunity for you and a potential employer to decide how well your skills align with the company's needs. And job interviews allow us to get a better idea of what a company you're applying for is all about. And you can also get information that will help you to decide if that job is the right one for you. And I think I have a love hate relationship with job interviews. I have had some really good ones and some really bad ones. And I think the best thing to do is to go into an interview fully prepared and with confidence. So you kind of think of it as a meeting where you get to talk all about yourself and all the great things that you know you can do. And sometimes you have to go through a few interviews to get some practice, and that really helps too. So today I'm going to go over some of the basics of what you need to know to get ready for your big job interview, because this is a really important part of getting the job that you want. And hopefully, looking at different ways to prepare for an interview will help you to make it a little easier. If we do a little bit of work now to prepare for your job hunting journey, and if we are more aware of what is expected when you go on a job interview, you will totally wow those employers. So I've got some tips and some tricks to share with you on this topic. So let's get started. Whoa, you got the job interview. How exciting. After sending out your resume and applying for a bunch of jobs, you finally got an interview scheduled for a job and that you really want to get. So this is it. Now is the time to prepare so you can ace this interview. Just remember that the interviewer's job is to find the best person for the position, so your focus should be to prove that you are exactly the best candidate for the job. I have to say that preparation and planning are the keys to a successful interview. If you take some time to plan for your interview in advance, you will be so happy that you did. It's kind of like studying for a test, you know. When you go over everything before, it makes a lot of sense and it makes the process so much easier. So to help guide you through the process, I have put together some ideas to help you be ready for your big day. So practice in advance. This is super important. Going on your job interview for the first time can be very exciting, but it could also be scary, especially if you don't have a lot of experience in the application and interviewing process. The best strategy would be to have a friend or family member do a mock interview with you to practice so you'll know what it's like to be in an interview. The main things you'll be doing in the interview is answering questions, keeping eye contact, and maintaining appropriate body language. This helps with being prepared and being confident as well. So here are the top 5 questions that you might be asked in an interview. These are the ones that are generally asked at job interviews, but this doesn't mean that all of these will be asked. You usually will get a combination of these, and it's a good idea if you take a look at these questions before you go to an interview and practice answering them. If you go over them ahead of time, it'll be a lot easier. And when your interviewer asks you, "Why are you looking for a job?" you'll have your answer ready to go. So, one thing you probably should do before the interview is research the company that you're interviewing with. It will give you a good background on them. And if you know a little bit about the company when you go to the interview, it'll really show them that you're interested in the job. And to research a company, you can do a couple of different things. You can look at their website and check their about page. And this usually has a lot of information like their mission statement and also how their company got started. You could also check to see if they have a company blog or a Facebook page. You can also check to see if they're on LinkedIn and pretty much any social media platform to see what their presence is all about. And any information that you can find through research will be helpful for you to have a successful job interview. So, how do you make the best impression? Well, the key to a successful interviewing is to show your interviewer that you are the best candidate for the job. And the best way that you can do that is by making a positive impression. And with only about 8 seconds, that is something that you might really want to think about. You'll be you'll be going to your interview, you may be meeting with the receptionist and then meeting with an interviewer, and you really want to watch your body language, how you want to make sure you smile, make eye contact, and be friendly. And it's usually customary to shake hands with the interviewer, but right now we might not be doing that. But remember, for future, shaking hands is a big gesture when going on a job interview. And here's a few things that you should remember also when going on a job interview. Dress appropriately, and by that I mean professionally. The best way to make a great first impression is to walk into the interview looking like you could start the job right now. Be prepared to answer some questions in an informed manner. Having questions ready to ask the interviewer also shows that you are interested and engaged. And in general, you just want to make the best impression that you can on the interviewer. All right, so what's the look that you're going for when you go on your interview? What's the best outfit to wear for a job interview? Well, the answer will really vary depending on the type of job or company that you're interviewing with. But remember, you want to dress to make the best impression. But the outfit you choose also needs to align with the type of company that you're interviewing with. Generally, a job interview calls for you to wear a professional looking outfit or business attire. For guys, that might mean slacks with a shirt and tie, or a sweater and a nice button down shirt. For girls, it could be a blouse and dress pants, or maybe a dress with a sweater would be good. You should also think about color when selecting your interview outfit, and definitely avoid wearing anything too bright or too flashy. And this also goes for jewelry and accessories. Keep those to a limit because too much going on with your outfit will probably only distract the interviewer. The most important thing for you to consider is that you have a professional and polished look, regardless of the type of position you're applying for. So, even though what you wear depends on the position, you should always go to the interviewing looking neat, tidy, and well dressed. This is definitely the best way to make a good impression for any interview that you go on. So, I want to talk about being prepared. When you go to your interview, you might want to bring a few extra things along with you, like a notebook and a pen in case you want to take notes. Taking notes can help you to remember important details, like the interviewer's name, which I always seem to forget as soon as I leave the interview. Here's one I sometimes forget to do: bring an extra copy of your resume along with examples of what you have accomplished in previous jobs. You might also want to bring a list of questions that you can ask at the end of the interview, and this will totally impress your interviewer. This is a very important one. Be on time. This is make sure that you arrive to the interview site a few minutes early if you can. And if you're not sure where to go, get directions ahead of time. And if you aren't driving yourself, make sure you have a reliable ride because arriving late is not going to make a good impression. Before you go to the interview, you should already know what days and hours you're available to work. Because if the interviewer is interested in hiring you, they will almost always ask you when you're available to work. They might already have a schedule in mind, so flexibility is an asset, and the more time you're available, the easier it is for the employer to set a work schedule. It's also good to know how you're going to get to and from work if you don't drive. I know you probably won't bring your mom or your grandma to the job interview, but that is seriously something that I have seen some family members of mine do in the past. So I wanted to mention that you really shouldn't bring anyone to the interview with you because it's important that you go on your own and that you speak for yourself and that you connect with the interviewer without someone else's assistance. You need to represent yourself as a mature, responsible candidate for employment. And this is a really big part of adulting is to make sure that you're doing things on your own. And if that seems too scary, you could always have someone wait for you outside or call them as soon as you're done. And I'm sure they will be totally proud of you for going on your own. Well, I always share a back in my day story, so here goes. Back in my day, we didn't send email thank yous. No, we had to get a thank you note card, write it out, and then go back to the company and deliver it by hand. I think that employers really liked this gesture, and many times it would help seal the deal on who they would hire, especially if they're trying to decide between two different candidates. So, what I'm saying is, it is a good idea to just take a few minutes to thank the person who interviewed you. If you have an email address, send them an email thank you note. If you only have the person that set up the interview's email, send it to them and ask them to forward it to the person who interviewed you. You can still send a paper note thanking the interviewer for taking the time to meet with you, but in today's fast paced world, it's a lot quicker to send an email. So you should always have some questions of your own ready to ask. And I'd like to think is this at the time that you get to super shine in front of your interviewer. I think I learned this one a little bit too late because so many times at the end of an interview, they would ask me if I had any questions, and I would say, no, I'm good. Well, I think now, after going through so many interviews, that having curiosity and asking questions about a job shows that you're really interested. So you should definitely go to the interview prepared with a list of questions that you can ask. And it's also good to ask any questions about things that you need clarification on. And some questions you might want to ask the interviewer are something like, what are the daily office routines like here? Or tell me what a typical day in the office is like. Or you could ask, if I were hired, would there be an opportunity to progress down the line? Progress down the line? And, or here's another one. If they don't cover this one, you might ask, do you have a new employee training program? And another good one to ask is, what is the most challenging aspects of the job here? Also, this is one that I always forget to ask, but it is a good one. Ask, what is the timeline for choosing a candidate for the position? And this is a good one to ask, so that way you'll have an idea of when they might be choosing someone and you're not just waiting around for a long time. It gives you an idea of when when they're going to make a choice. So, of course, I have no idea what I'm doing dog. He's great. But I could really go on forever with all of these great interviewing tips. And I hope that you've gotten some good ideas on how to make the best impression when it comes to going on a job interview. You should definitely try out a practice interview with a friend or someone in your family. It will really help you to feel more at ease, and it's good to just try it out for practice. And any time that you're trying something new out, That will help direct you toward adulting. And that's a great thing because it allows you to grow and move forward, which also helps you to be prepared for adulthood. And remember, it takes time to learn all this stuff. And also remember that there will be trial and error. And of course, you can make mistakes. That is totally okay. So just relax and know that you're doing fine and you'll be ready on your own time. Well, that's all I have for you this week. And I thank you for tuning in. And I hope you enjoyed this segment of our mini series. If you have any questions or you want to know more about adulting, I'd be more than happy to answer. I have my email address listed here in case you want to contact me. I'm Kimberly Buckley, and this has been All About Adulting. See you next time.